Welcome to Prana Talk TV. I'm Shana Dean, and today we are talking with Brother Sage. Brother Sage has been a wellness practitioner since the 70s. He's interested in raw food, urine therapy, reflexology, massage, food freedom, and high-frequency lifestyles. And today we're having a conversation that matters to encourage a quantum leap in consciousness. Welcome, Brother Sage.
Welcome, Shana. Glad to be on the air with you.
Yes, you too. And how are you today?
I'm very calm and I'm very stimulated at the same time. We had the Shivambu nonprofit organization meeting at my apartment over an hour ago. So we're working on projects and working on bringing things to the planet.
Beautiful. Would you like to share a little bit about that particular project?
Well, we're working on local levels, which means taking things that everybody talks about on the social medias, which is like a huge movement if you've caught any of that. But we're taking it down to the local level. So we're down on the streets hosting a table with a camera crew, taking people at random and saying, hey, have you ever heard of urine therapy? And just see what kind of reactions we get and what kind of reception we get. And turn this into a documentary that'll be known as Following the Shivambu Trail, which I'll take on my world tour. And we can bring the message to more people everywhere.
Yeah, and I know that you are an author of a book called The Healing Waters Within.
Well, there's the book that came through me. Is this backwards?
Nope, I see it perfectly.
That's okay. We're able to use all areas of our consciousness. You guys get it. All right. That came out in 2018, and what happened with my life will never be the same, Shana, because within 30 days, it became an international success in 30 countries because of Amazon. And then after I ended up at the Water of Life Symposium in Las Vegas in September, I was interviewed in over 20 radio shows and 3 television stations. So I knew, okay, this is my calling.
Wow. Now share a little bit, because I'm sure some of our viewers have never heard of urine therapy or unfamiliar with the benefits, but could you share some of the benefits and how it's affected your life?
Well, the first benefit is you can enjoy every conversation with people, even if it's in front of a camera. Very relaxing. This is an ancient practice, and the wellness practice that I've been doing for 40-something years has always included the ancient teachings, the ancient practices, because they stood the test of time. It has nothing to do about what's popular, what's a fad, or what's the thing right now. And so urine therapy with a 5,000-year-old history has been handed down from generation after generation after generation, and every spiritual lineage seems to have a connection to it. Even the Jewish tradition has an interest in it. So I started using it. I started finding benefits because I had challenge with my intestines and prostate, and I go, well, this is as good a time as any. And so I just stayed with it, even though my wife thought I had a crazy habit, a crazy hobby. So I kept that part of my life to myself. And then fast forward in 1994, it came online, it came alive. The Golden Fountain book was my Bible. And one of my teachers is a devotee of Babaji, and Babaji is known a lot by people as Shiva. And so Shiva tells his devotee to tell me to drink my pee. I didn't ask twice. I said, okay, sure.
And what kinds of benefits have you experienced from doing this? And how long have you been doing it for?
Since 1994. First sip, first maiden voyage, first gulp, yes. I started getting healthier. I started getting clearer. What's amazing is when you don't have the toxins running through your brain and you don't have the viruses to deal with, you don't have to deal with the parasites and the fungus and the candida, all that. It's amazing. But the shifts in me is not just physical shifts, Shana. There was emotional shifts. There was things that were being pulled out of the unconscious and in places I didn't know existed. But what it all boiled down to is there was a calmness and a presence of me that I didn't achieve before. And so I was able to walk into every situation knowing and trusting that there's a solution in everything.
Thank you for sharing that. I've done some extensive cleansing myself and colon hydrotherapy and things like that. And I have noticed that as you do clean your digestive system and your internal terrain, that emotions do come up, and you do work with old emotions that will come, that will surface to be worked through. So I find that really interesting. You also mentioned Candida, because I really do believe a lot of people who are on the food freedom path, for example, have a hard time, or let's say it's a challenge moving in that direction because of detox symptoms and things like that. And I know a lot of that is because of an imbalance in gut dysbiosis. So I'm curious, urine therapy, can that cure or help rid people of Candida and things like that? What is your experience in that realm?
I love you for asking the question, because that is a question that teachers and therapists are getting hit with every day. Will it cure Candida, cancer, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, 4-stage brain tumors, blah, blah, blah? The answer is yes and no. This is a complicated question. This is why when I was a master nutritionist consultant for like 30 years, when I discovered Shivambu, I stopped going to health food stores. Anyway, that's another conversation. But yes and no, because the person at the deepest place in their unconscious wants to get better, has to be motivated to do what it takes, has to do the dietary change, the lifestyle change, the attitude changes, and start feeling love and kindness toward themselves. And the bottom of Candida is not feeling a sweetness in life.
I do know the way we're running our energy and our emotions plays a big difference in all of that. I completely agree. Yeah. But on a physical level,
yes,
the urine therapy, does it help to clear?
Yeah. It helps to clear. The beautiful thing is when you look in my book and you look at some of the other books and they talk about the nutritional profile. And if people want to get wowed by a superfood, then look at urine, because it's got over 3,000 compounds, substrates, substances, nutrients, and so forth. That is the mother of all superfoods. It's probably the oldest of all superfoods. And so we're not just working on getting the toxins and the inflammation down and the disturbances and the obstacles in the body, but the melatonin and the serotonin and the DHEA and the mega B vitamins are calming to the nervous system. Most people have blown out adrenal glands. It's just ideal for relaxing people.
Nice, nice. And I do believe you're also on a food freedom path as well, correct?
Yep.
And has this method, this therapy helped in that? Does it take away some of your hungers?
Well, I don't get hungry anymore. To me, when I eat, it's almost like what would bring me oral pleasure right now. I mean, I'm doing fruit, so it's a great path. It's just everything I love. So it's not difficult to decide what to eat.
Right, right. Beautiful. Well, would you mind sharing a little bit about your liberation in terms of the food? I know you've been doing the urine therapy and other types of cleansing, and you work with the body and massage and all of that. But what has your transition been like for the food freedom, the pranic part of it? Because I know a lot of our viewers are interested in that topic.
Could you explain a little bit more about the pranic aspect or food liberation?
Well, both, because I know the pranic aspect is the cultivating of energy so you can be more food free, right? Have you done anything to cultivate the energy? I know you're interested in kirtan and meditation, or would you say you have been able to reach food freedom just simply by doing the urine therapy and the cleansing? And of course, I know the two go hand in hand, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
It's deeper than that, of course. That's why you ask me these questions, because we want to purge. If we're going to do quantum healing and transformational shows, we've got to get down to core belief systems. And eventually we're going to ask people if they want to live or die, and let's just get right on living. So food freedom, or what our friend John DePass calls unfooding, our pranic lifestyle, has to do with liberating the mind from food slavery. And that includes dogma, addictions, associations. It even includes people using food as either a reward, a form of pleasure, or a form of punishment. Food has so many emotional ties and connections to it. We have to pull that out of our mind and thinking. So food isn't a go-to anymore. So for people to say, okay, well, these are the steps. Now, my whole raw food journey started in 1977. Because my life was turned in all different directions. I had no landmarks, but I found an old lover in Austin, Texas. She says, join this raw food community. They'll take you in, feed you, give you this and da-da-da. I said, what I got to lose? I went in. Little did I know that my life would take a 365-degree turn. And everything I knew or thought was true was going to get unraveled and questioned and picked apart because my path got kicked in big time.
Absolutely, that's what happens. And this is part of the quantum leaps forward, right, in consciousness.
Yes.
We shift as we go from raw foods to now urine therapy, and then to food freedom and just liberating ourselves and just changing the way we think, right? The way we think about food. How much do we need it? How much are we emotionally attached and programmed for it? That kind of a thing.
Yeah. And is it my lover?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people.
The comforter. Yeah. The healer. You know, we think it's the healer, you know, but it actually isn't.
Everything. And if our parents' voice jumps in our head and food was a form of you eat it because you're told to eat it, you're likely to use food as a form of punishment. You know, we eat the wrong food and then afterwards we binge, we go, what was I thinking? And they beat yourself up psychologically.
That's interesting. And then on the other side of that, we use food as love.
We do. And you imagine someone who's moving on the path of food freedom and their lover makes this beautiful vegan dish and you're going, oh my God, but I love you, but I'm on this path. And, oh, that's tough for people.
Yeah. You really need to make sure everybody in your world is hopefully in support of your efforts, or at least respectful.
Right. Now, I wanted to mention something. When you go from one path to another path, it takes an internal shift, a shift in consciousness in order to make that jump. And the challenge people have, like when they go into raw foods, is they don't create a support team, a support structure around them. If you all of a sudden said, okay, I'm going to just stop eating and be a Prana lifestyle, it's going to be very, very difficult if you don't have someone who's going to walk you through it and stand there when you get, you know, scared and wobbly. So
that's exactly right. And that's exactly why we have programs like this one on Prana Talk TV, and other people are out in the world right now sharing this message. It's really important because we've all done that, or at least I know I have and you have, you know, made the transition from regular SAD, you know, the standard American diet, to eating vegan and then raw. And, you know, now we're talking about not eating at all, which blows a lot of people, blows their minds, you know, and it's an absolute true thing that really is possible. And the more we're on this path, we realize that food actually isn't the great healer and the great comforter that we think it is. You know, so I love the quantum leaps. I love that. But at the same time, I do know that this journey is a gradual process. And I think that's really important. A lot of people write to me saying, how do I become breatharian? What do I do? And they just want it right away. And it takes years of developing your lifestyle, your mindset, reprogramming yourself, all of that. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your transition, because I know it's probably taken many, many years. What would you like to share about that?
There's one big piece, and I asked you if we could talk about this subject, that is the missing piece that I don't hear in conversations. That's why I've been talking about physical immortality for over 40 years, so it gets built into public conversations and social media. Without a healthy understanding of physical immortality, if you still have it in the back of your mind that you're going to die, or that your body will fall apart, or your soul will leave your soul suit, I call this the soul suit, then it doesn't matter if you're going to become a breatharian, a vegan, a raw foodist, a fruitarian, until you change your mind and realize that aliveness is the way to go, and you'll do everything in your power to nurture life urges, to nurture love interests, to nurture life itself. And so what you have to get, you'll notice that people you talk to, they say, well, I can't be a raw foodist, or I can't be a prana breather, because they're afraid something is not going to be available to them, or they'll be missing out on nutrients, or the bottom line is it'll kill me if I don't eat. I mean, you come across this all the time. People go, well, there's still that belief system, and how do you get them through that?
Yeah, absolutely. Even people who are well on the path, you know, who've been fasting for a long time or have been doing this for a while, they have that background voice that says, I'm gonna die. You know, that's a real thing. And you just have to really work through that and realize you have more potential than you realize. And I'm really glad that you bring this up about the immortality and all of that. And the reason why we're actually doing this, because if we're just looking at this one lifetime, why do we focus so much energy on giving up food and all of that? And I like to look at actually the bigger picture, because the whole Breatharian movement right now is about cultivating your spirituality, really. And that's something that you take with you from this life to other lives, and you know, however long you live on this life, right? And extend your life. But it's connecting to that greater universal self that you are. And when you do that, the food falls away as a side effect. It shouldn't necessarily be the main focus. I feel like you should be developing your personal connectivity to your higher self, and connecting with what the yogis refer to as self-realization. I think that should be the ultimate goal, really.
Yep. I agree. Another piece that I teach a lot about is not so much improving your intelligence, not so much about improving your consciousness or trying to resolve your past and do self-improvement, which to me is from an old belief system that you're not okay, because we spend a lot of time trying to do processes and work out the story from the past. You're not in present time experiencing what the moment's bringing you. And so I find the same thing is going to be true with our health in every area of our life. We have to focus on, wow, well, perhaps I'm whole now. What if I did it right?
Yeah, absolutely. We are whole now. We are in the present moment. Absolutely. And most people don't live in the present moment. They're living in the past, or they're worried about the future. You know,
yeah,
that's the reason why I love this path, because it takes you right into the present moment, you know, with your breath work, with your energy work, with the letting go of the addictions like food and anything else that we're using to kind of, you know, buffer everything.
So the piece that I was getting to is called your way of being. And to me, this is about getting to know your center, your core, your essence, which most people physically say it's down here. So that when you move through life, you're moving at the pace of your nature, your being. You're not being sped up by your family, your friend, your lover, the world, anything other than you. And you don't get affected by the chaos, the conflict, and the discordant consciousness of humanity.
Beautiful.
See, this is,
yeah, that's a good message, especially for right now. But I call that living in our true essence.
I agree. And when the mortals operate here on planet Earth, now the mortals are my buddies, and you're talking to one right now, so get used to it. They operate in a time frame or a time consciousness that the mortals don't operate in. There's two forms of time. One is called linear time, measured time, clocks, you know, how they put time on a calendar. And then there was called eternal time, which is now.
Right. It transcends time. There is actually no real time.
No, but that's something that runs people, because they're always checking in with the clock to see if I'm supposed to do something versus the urges that your intuition is giving you.
Right. And that brings us into like 4D reality, right? Fourth dimension, 5 dimension, and higher. When we're in those realms, not only is there no time, there's also no pain and suffering, right? So there's just a level of happiness, peace, bliss, and that happens anytime we're not so hooked into this reality that we're in, you know. And food just draws us right into it, because it's a very heavy, dense material that we're feeding ourselves with and that we think we need. So
yeah,
interesting topics. Yeah,
it's an interesting topic. And so when I have conversations with people about changing diets, I always say, well, how motivated are you to live?
Yeah,
because you might have heard me say this before. Some of the readers, some of the people who watch me, I give these talks. There's only two things you can't heal. There's only one thing you can't heal, and there's only one thing you can't achieve. I'll ask you the question. What's the one thing you cannot heal? And you'll understand my philosophy.
the one thing you cannot heal?
The one thing you cannot heal. It's simple, by the way, Shana.
Let's say love, because it doesn't need healing.
I like the answer, but the correct answer is, if I had a buzzer on you, I'd go, eh. The one thing you can't heal, guys, I hope you're paying attention here. The one thing you cannot heal is the thing you say you cannot heal.
That's true.
When you talk to your prospects and your clients and your people you talk to, and they say, well, can you heal this condition? And the whole list comes out of you. You can say, do you want to heal it? You're the only one putting up the limits.
Yeah, and a lot of people I know give their power away too. They say, oh, I can't heal this or make this change in my life because of this, this, and this, because of something that happened to me from the past, or because of this life situation. And that's just handing your power away. You're disempowering yourself. So you actually can make more changes and more life-affirming decisions and mind thinking. You can do that more than you realize. You have so much power. Everybody does.
You do. You do, guys. You really do. And it's the reason you need to come to Prana TV show a lot, because what you're going to get is an infusion of acknowledgement and praise and reminders of who you really are.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it the pranic nourishment for the day.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, a little bit of high conscious thinking. So speaking of high frequency lifestyles, what would you describe as a high frequency lifestyle?
I would say, if you guys want to jump into it right now, the fastest route to high frequency lifestyle is totally get rid of doubt, fear, and concern. See, the reason angels can fly is because they take themselves lightly. And we haven't figured that one out yet. We are so freaking serious. Even the spiritual folks that you see in your communities who are real serious about doing their asanas and their practices, they forget to laugh and they forget to join other people in the world. So you got to keep it all in balance.
That's true. And I always say, keep it light and bright. Our happiness is so important. You know, staying lighthearted, being optimistic, all of those things. That's very high frequency, by the way. Not to say that it's not okay to experience heavier, more challenging emotions if that's what you're going through. You don't want to ignore it. That's not part of being high vibe. You want to embrace it. And in doing so, sometimes you realize it dissolves, But you do want to work on the mental programming that starts or that keeps looping things that are challenging, and catch yourself and rewrite your script and making an actual conscious effort in doing things that you love, that make you happy, Definitely. So that's a huge component. Anything else that you would?
Oh, you are definitely got my mind mail, girl. One of my dear friends from India, she's one of the advisors for our Shivamba organization. She says, forget about email. We're into mind mail. You're going to pick up my thought anytime now. Okay, also added to a high frequency lifestyle is to be mindful of the presence in this moment throughout the day. It's like saying, how much can you be aware that you're aware, and pay attention with your breath and your feelings? I mean, you just shifted when I moved the energy just now, right? So people, this is the moment you want to keep open all day long. It's like when you do body work, someone comes to you for me for body work, I always remind them when it's all over, the benefits last as long as you stay relaxed and in this zone. So don't speed up and go back to your routines. Don't go put your life on autopilot or try to do a Groundhog Day. See if you can keep fresh in the moment.
Yes, yes. And don't go back to the things that caused the imbalance in the first place. Sometimes those things are unavoidable in terms of what's happening around you, but it's being calm in the middle of all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So staying in the now.
Okay. Another thing is you've got to constantly prevent stuck energy. All right. You don't want to get in paralysis, because when you're nervous and scared and anxious and confused and stuck, you're not breathing. First thing you want to do is 20-30 connected breaths. You want to dance, you want to shake, go for a walk. I make it a habit to walk 3 or 4 miles every day, not to work out my problems, but just to be in an element of nature where you're expanding with all the beauty.
I love that. I love that. So avoiding energetic paralysis. What a great way of putting that. Yeah, absolutely. Changing the chi, just shifting the energy. I love breath work. And of course, anytime you move your physical body, that really helps shift the chi also. So great advice. Yeah, I hope everyone's writing this down. If not, I'll bullet point it in the description of this video. so everybody can read it afterwards.
Okay, here's one, and I'm about to reveal one of my addictions. I'm addicted to creative flow. All day long, my life is on purpose because there's a continual flow of creativity. I'm writing, I'm drawing, I'm talking, I'm thinking, I'm playing, I'm involved. And there's creative juices are flowing all day long. It's like when you're in love. You just can't stop feeling the endorphins kicking in. Well, I get these creative endorphins that go along. So I'm telling people, listen, draw, do your journal writing, go engage with a hot conversation with somebody, but keep your creative juices being fed all day as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to share that the more you're on this lifestyle, and the more prana you're flowing through your body, and the cleaner you are, and the more you're shifting in this direction, the creative flow is so much stronger. And I wouldn't even say it's an addiction. It's like, it's just part of who you are. It's part of your essence. And you just jump into this flow. It's like being part of the light itself. And you talk about the mind mail. I feel like the mind mail is the light, and we're all just connected to it. Because I'm noticing all the time now, I'll write to somebody or someone write to me at the same exact moment thinking the same thing, and we're across the world and not even like physically close to each other. And we're just in the flow of the light. You know, you can call that the universe, you can call that God, whatever you want to call that, but we're all in the flow, we're all connected, and it's a huge creative force.
Yep.
Huge. So whatever that is for you, it's going to come across as an incredible passion and a call to action. You're just going to want to be a part of that. So you'll notice that as a side effect as you go along with this lifestyle, that'll grow within you.
It will. The next suggestion is human touch. As a body worker, I touch people all week long, but as a human being, I feel the need to receive touch. So I make a habit of getting at least 6 hugs a day. And if you're homebound or if you're shy, at least touch this person you can see in the mirror. You've got to get touched.
Yeah. And I find animals are really healing for that too.
Big time, big time.
Yeah. So if you have a cat or a dog, or if you can volunteer your time to spend with little animals that are so healing. But yeah, of course, human contact is beautiful too. Very important. Yeah. And as an energy worker myself, of course, I teach people how to send healing work, which is done energetically. But you can send it to yourself. Even if you're not an energy work, everybody has the potential for healing and sending healing energy. So go ahead and just send energy to yourself through your hands, with your mind. It's amazing what we can do. We actually take the time and be really intentional. And I know that a lot of people get really busy and they forget to take care of themselves. And they aren't living the, I would say, consciously intentional lifestyle that they could be. You know, just being really aware of, oh, this is what I need. Let's do this. And not just touching yourself or others, but doing it with intention, doing it with love, doing it with healing thoughts, that kind of a thing. Just being really intentional with everything you do.
I agree. And then how I close my day is do a blessing to all humanity. So you might have learned this, and I'm sure the viewers might have figured this one out by now, is that when you heal yourself, you heal everybody. When you improve yourself, you improve everybody. When you do something kind and loving toward yourself, kindness and love reaches everybody. So at the end of the night, it's a good idea to just bless everybody, because, you know, Santa's got a hell of a list, but you just send in whatever tradition and whatever ritual and whatever ceremonies you liked that are sacred and beautiful to you, send an intention so that everybody gets their needs met and is healthy and happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I often do global healings, but you're right. Utmost importance is taking care of yourself, because that really does change everything. There are studies now where we know that our emotions that we feel affects our DNA, and now they're discovering that our emotions, which affects our DNA, is also affecting the light photons in the environment around us, which actually affects our reality. So, you know, taking care of yourself, staying high vibe emotionally, living a high frequency lifestyle, letting go of the things that aren't serving you, or just letting go of things in general, right?
Yeah.
All of this not only affects you and improves your life, but it affects the entire world and everyone around you. It's really something, and you really should realize how important you are just for that reason.
You guys You guys.
Yeah, everybody watching. Yeah, it's really important. You are.
And I love what you're doing, because these kind of conversations plant enormous seeds into collective consciousness that needs to wake up, that needs to find their way, needs to be reassured and connected to love again. So I'm grateful that I'm able to share the airtime with you, and that your message can go everywhere and help people.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we're really happy and honored to have you here too. Yeah, words of the wise. So anything else you would like to share in terms of high frequency living?
See if you can enter in the moment without a preconceived idea where it's supposed to take you. See if you can join. This is where I live. It's called the zone unknown. You have no idea where you're going to land. You just jump into the moment. You got no landmarks. You got no backup system. You got no safety net, but you got a faith as large as the universe, and you're going, let's go. And it always becomes the greatest blessing to you when you don't have any concerns, or you're not even thinking about the outcome. You're just too busy experiencing what you're experiencing without trying to stop and write a story about it.
I love it. Yeah. And have no expectations, we truly enjoy the journey. Like, make the journey the reason why you're doing this. It's beautiful, not just the end point. We're always evolving. We're always growing and changing. And it's a beautiful path. It's a beautiful life. Yeah.
It is. And when you guys are going to slow down, by the way, the newest definition I heard about meditation, if we can talk about meditation for just a second here, I'm sure you and Elatom get into that. But meditation, according to Matt Kahn, is a mental vacation or a conscious vacation from concerns. For me, meditation is maybe one of the first time in people's lives when there's stillness and silence, and their mind is not running away with everything, and you're in a peaceful place. Yeah, it's like coming home.
Yeah, it is coming home. It's actually realizing what and who you really are and your connectivity. I always think of meditation as the best mind-altering substance there is.
There is. It beats ayahuasca. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can really hook into those bliss levels, and that takes time. You just don't do it overnight. Some people might, if they have that in their blueprint or they've had that experience, in past lives. But most of us have to work. I've been meditating since I was a child. I was raised in an ashram. So I learned, I think, age 6 or 7 to meditate. So it's something that's really important. Everybody should learn to do that, whether starting with guided meditations or silent meditations or using music like kirtan, devotional music, whatever that is. But yeah, doing anything to hook into that silent, quiet time, even just taking what I call walking meditation, going through the forest or somewhere in nature, where your eyes are open, but you're just completely focused on the present moment, looking at the birds and the trees, and you're not thinking anything else except exactly what's around you, and breathing it in and being aware of all your senses. That can also be a meditation, very important.
It is. We should do guided meditations for our readers sometime, our viewers.
Yes, I think that's in the works. I think that will come. Absolutely. The other thing I wanted to ask you, because we were talking a little bit about quantum leaps, in your journey, what kind of quantum leaps have you experienced?
In me?
Yeah, along your path. Was it discovering urine therapy? Was it, you had some epiphany along the way with meditation? What kind of a quantum leap, or do you even remember having, that you'd like to share?
Well, that's a great question. I have to go into my quantum files.
Yeah, just those kind of like pivotal moments that have shifted you into a higher consciousness, let's just say. Yeah, so go ahead and think about that. See what the light wants you to share with us.
Well, some of it is just the breaking apart of belief systems that were creating patterns in me. And I'm sure other people still think that what people think about them is important. But it occurred to me that what people think about me is none of my business.
What you think about you is none of your business.
Exactly. They're just, they're all ideas, and we end up giving them names and labels and attachments and all kinds of stuff, which drives us mad, and it keeps us from just enjoying every moment. And so what people think about you is really what they're thinking about themselves, and they're either asking for love or for help. I mean, that's right out of the Course in Miracles. But a lot of things I've learned have been helpful for me, because I have people that come to me every day asking for mentoring and coaching and assistance. And I've been in their heart, I've been in their pain, I've been in their darkest moments of their life, and I'm able to walk with them through it without being hurt by them.
Nice, nice. Yeah, sometimes people need to have that support system, and it's really important that we don't personalize what's going on. Yeah.
So what about you? Do you have an epiphany that you'd like to share?
Oh my goodness, so many. Where do I start? I've actually started recently thinking I should share some of my, because I keep a spiritual journal, I should share some of my journal entries once in a while, because they're really interesting and really kind of out there and fun. Oh, let's see. I have lots of epiphanies that happen all the time, and lots of what I call upgrades that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But they're on a subtle level. But in terms of big epiphanies, I would say when I started my pranic journey, discovering how, because I've always been in nutrition, right? I've been a nutrition coach for about 14 years, a raw food chef. So someone like me who comes from the background of, oh, you need food, you need all these certain nutrients, and then to have that realization, actually, no, you don't. And when I started on this path and realized that when I let go of the food, I actually felt better and healthier. And when I brought back the foods that were healthy, my body started actually reacting in a way that showed me, no, it wasn't really as healthy as I thought. So that right there, in terms of the pranic food freedom path, that right there was a big mind changer, big epiphany for me. But I've had lots of little spiritual epiphanies along the way, for sure.
What? Wait, you're not nutritionally deficient? You don't have something lacking in your body's infinite intelligence?
I know, right? No, my blood work is perfect, and I feel great, and yeah, absolutely. Before moving into needing a lot less calories, and sometimes not at all. You know, I've been a vegan for many years, a raw foodist for many years, just eating fruit and greens. And now my calorie level is so low. I'm considered a level 3 breatharian, and I feel like I'm just receiving everything I need, and it's not coming from food. You know, I'm sorry?
I want to give your viewers a quick insight and throw out the possibility that they're already breatharians, but they're not even looking at it.
That is so true. I was having a conversation with a woman the other day when Ellie Tom was here, and she said, you know, I've been meditating, and I've just noticed I've been wanting and needing less food. And I started thinking, I wonder what's going on. Is this okay? And then after talking with us, she realized, oh, I'm on a breatharian path and didn't even know it. Right? Because the more you bring these higher energies, the less you need, and you don't even have to think about it. And that's one reason why you don't really want to necessarily make this the end goal. It's a nice, beautiful side effect of being fed in other ways.
Exactly. So here's how you can pose this question to people. Just think about this. For you thousands of people who are watching the show right now, it would be tens of thousands, who knows? If you add all the times it takes during the day for people to consume solid food and liquid food, it comes out to about 90 minutes. Okay? So
more than that, I'm sure of it. Shopping, food prep.
No, we're just talking about oral use of food.
Oh, just the eating? Okay.
Okay. If you have snacks, if you include fruit, if you include juice, water, tea, whatever they have, it comes out to about 90 minutes, because most meals people eat in 20 minutes, unless they're really gulping. So that's an hour and a half, and what's left of that is 22 and a half hours you're not eating. See if you can track with me. Let's say 22 hours of the day you're fasting, 22 hours of the day, you're a breatharian. But they don't acknowledge that. Like people go, okay, I had my last meal at 6 p.m. and my first meal at noon. So I did intermittent fasting. I'm a faster. Well, you might be a breatharian, but you're not looking at it that way.
That's true. And a breatharian is also using the breath. Obviously, we all breathe, but there's breathing techniques that you can do to increase the energy in your body, right?
Agreed. Yes.
And there are energy techniques that we do without even knowing it. We're not even conscious of it. Yawning is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Hyperventilating when you're having a breakdown is another one, right? That right? Yeah. That right there is breath work, pranayama, that your body automatically goes into to normalize your system, right? Mm-hmm. So we're always tied into the breath. So when you can be more conscious of that and actually utilize the breath to feed yourself, to change the way you're thinking, change your consciousness, you're also being a breatharian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the question I have for you, Shana, is when you all of a sudden feel the voice or hear guidance that says, okay, I really don't need to eat, or this, I need to go over here. When you get that inkling, do you have a name for what it is that speaks to you?
Oh, well, there's so many things. And this brings up a whole other conversation, right? So to me, I refer to the universe and the light as God. And when I'm hooked into that space, I really do see myself as the greater soul that is God. So to me, that's all synonymous. It's all one and the same. So I guess I would call that my higher self, or the greater universal soul that I am. Mm-hmm. The other day, for example, I was in meditation, and during meditation, I split, and my greater soul self had a conversation with the, how should I say, the part of the universe that expresses itself as Shana Dean, right? So with the personality of Shana. So there's all of that, and this is a much bigger kind of esoteric spiritual conversation, but I would just, that's the voice. You know, that it's not even a voice, it's more like a higher wisdom. It's clear. I don't even know how to articulate it, but
you're doing great. Everyone has a name. Some people call it source energy. Some people call it God consciousness. Some people call it infinite intelligence. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. The fact that you're paying attention, you act on it, matters.
Exactly. Bingo. Yeah, so paying attention. So a lot of this lifestyle, a lot of what we're talking about is actually being more conscious, right? So it's being really conscious of your thoughts, how you're thinking and feeling. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're reaching for food, what is going on around that, right? Are you comforting, loving yourself? Or is it just a habit? You know, how are you running your energy? And then what do you choose to have in your life? And how do you, are you even being conscious of your life? Are you being conscious of being more high frequency, right? Or are you in this habitual hamster wheel of, okay, well, this is happening to me, therefore this is how I'm reacting to it? Or are you being more empowered to make some changes and move into a better direction? So.
And that reminds me of a point that we haven't discussed yet, and it has to do with not only states of awakening, which is really a joy to be involved in, but to be a successful human being on this planet requires really good energy maintenance, energy management. Now, we're all high maintenance people, regardless of relationships. Everybody by now, you know, you're a high maintenance person. And so you're running on high energy all day, but it's a matter of managing it so you don't get burnt out, so you pace yourself. I meditate between clients and slow my brain down. I feel like the dog on the Dog Whisperer television show. You cannot leave your house until you're present and centered. What if you were that way with every moment? Oh, I'm very excited. I got to run and do this. I got to do. No, it'll be done when you get centered. Then you'll do those, and you'll do each one to the best of your ability versus half-assed. So to be able to manage our energy is important right now, because we're getting on energy overload from every direction, and information highway and everything. So I have to breathe. I got too excited. Okay.
Well, that's a beautiful and a very important point. Yes. So it's true. We are all high maintenance, right? And it's really important that we learn how to maintain ourselves. Most people don't, and they just get swooped up in what's going on. And I know for me, people ask me, well, how much do you meditate, Shana? And the answer really is every chance I get, and in between activities, right? I'll take time out, I'll do breath work. I might actually sit down and do a guided meditation, or Reiki or oxygen, or go for a walk, or just something to center. Centering is so important. I cannot emphasize that enough. So thank you for bringing that up. It's really important that we recognize that we are high maintenance, and to be conscious of doing that, taking care of ourselves and not putting ourselves last. Because just reiterating that when we change ourselves, we change the world. We really do. And so that's how important we all are, and how important our lives are, and how important our energy is in the way we choose to run it, coming from a place of centered, so we can respond to life instead of reacting to it. So we can come from a place of peace and optimism and higher thinking, especially right now with a lot of the fears and things like that are going on in the world, right? We want to make sure we stay centered.
If I can interject urine topic really quickly here.
Yeah, please do.
One of the things now, the people I work with in the Shivambu nonprofit organization, the website, by the way, is shivambu.org. There, shameless promotion. One of the things we talk about is ways that we can shift the mass consciousness by telling them more and more about this healing water. So somebody said, well, we should put together a YouTube that talks about urine therapy is the preventative cure for coronavirus. And another person says, no, we should do a billboard out in front of Denver's Capitol. And everyone's getting all radical on this conversation. I'm going, you got my blessings. I'm just going to go to the street and talk to people. That's about it. Anyway.
There you go. Well, why don't you share, because I know a lot of people are wanting to make their inner terrain more healthy, right? Looking at the coronavirus and all the other things and illnesses that could happen and may happen in the future. Of course, being more pranic is helpful, but not everybody is there, right? So a lot of people are looking now at like increasing their vitamin C and zinc, and we're going into the whole health message now, or in terms of dietary needs for people who are interested in that. Tell me, how can urine therapy actually help build the immunity?
I'm glad you asked. First of all, prana people still bathe, right?
Of course.
Okay, pranic people still go out into the world and they touch hands and they hug people and animals, and they're surrounded with all kinds of things, right? So I would recommend, if this hasn't been brought up to the Breatharian community, is they get involved with urine therapy protocols without drinking it. You don't have to drink it to get it in the bloodstream and get it in the cells. You can do a foot soak or an eye wash or a body massage, nasal. I mean, there's all kinds of protocols which are in my books. And it's a way to make...
I didn't know that. I don't know anything about urine therapy, so I didn't know that. And that actually might appeal to people who aren't so interested in drinking, right?
Right.
So that's good to know.
But its properties are pretty revered because it's known to be antiseptic, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic, anti-candida, anti-cancer, anti all kinds of things, anti-inflammatory. So with those kind of properties all wrapped up in one, there's nothing that can hurt you, because you've got the protection that's built into your body, that the kidneys are operating all day long. Did you know that we generate about 5 quarts a minute of new blood? And that blood's got to pump through your body, but when it gets transferred from the bone marrow to the liver, to the kidneys, to the filtration system, it turns in this gold plasma water, which is life-saving.
That's fascinating. And just curious, does it diminish your hunger?
It diminishes the hunger if you're drinking it and looping it, particularly if you're active. You know, the best ways to diminish your hunger is to stay away from kitchens.
Right. And people who are eating, yeah. And eating with the commercials of eating, all of that, yeah.
I would love to know what Elatom does when he's invited to a potluck.
I think he just probably gets on Facebook Live and has a nice talk and doesn't focus on the food.
Yeah.
And then shares his own views and talks afterwards with everybody there. That would be my best guess. But when you say urine looping, would you explain what that means?
Yeah, urine looping is the ultimate in recycling, because every time you pee, you collect it and you consume it. And so some people will consume like a half a gallon of that throughout the day. And what you're doing is every time you drink it, it increases not only potency, but it produces trillions of, listen guys, stem cells. So you have all these life generating cells that are going on, and then it increases, and then it filters again. And if you're doing that, it's like time released nutrition, but it's so bioavailable in such a microscopic size, you're continually getting your body cleaner and cleaner.
Interesting. So people can use this as a tool to cleanse, because I know this is part of the journey here, is cleansing. So
cleansing, well, it's a two-part process. Cleansing is also nourishing.
Yeah. On all levels.
On all levels, and we're also talking about relationships.
Yeah, everything, all levels, absolutely. So where can people find your book and learn more about this therapy if they're interested?
You have two options. You can either buy it at Amazon. The title of the book, this is not the newest book, but this is the recent book, Healing Water from Within. Or you can buy a signed copy from me or a digital copy from me. And I'm sure you'll add a link or something at the end of this.
I will. And where can people find you? What's your website?
My website is a no-brainer, brothersage.com.
Perfect. And I'll link that below also.
Yeah. What's the other?
I will link that below the video also so people can find you.
Thank you. And I'm also, we have the Shivambu Hut, which is the alternative social media on the planet right now, because it's the only urine therapy social media. We've got about 95 members right now. And if anybody wants to join for free, they just go to shivambu.org and there's a direct link.
Perfect. Okay. I will also link that below. I will have all your links below. And what else are you offering? You're offering coaching, things like that?
I'm doing life mastery coaching. And it's amazing how many people find me thinking that we're going to have a conversation about urine therapy, which is always into the conversation. And at some point, I inquire them, I find out what their belief systems are and what's been running them and why their life is the way it is, and ask them if they want to break through faster.
Perfect. Beautiful work. So this is more high conscious therapy, high conscious coaching.
Yeah, if you want to be brass, we just say we're going to cut through the shit and get you clear.
There you go. Very good. And in closing, we've had a great conversation. I want to thank you so much for sharing all the information. It's been really fun talking with you today. But in closing, what is anything you would like just to share? What do you feel like people need to hear right now?
Don't take yourself so seriously. I think one of the best things is, with everything you're seeing on the news and everything that's going on the planet and everything that you've been over concerned about, the best thing you can do is to find a way to enjoy it by changing your thoughts and hanging around positive people. One of the best things you can do is be a joyful spirit and practice gratitude.
Oh, beautiful. Well said. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Sure. What a joy to be with you.
Yeah, what a joy. Well, thank you so much, Brother Sage. I look forward to talking with you again. And for those of you watching, thank you for tuning into Prana Talk TV. If you like what you've heard and you want to hear more, subscribe and feel free to shoot us any questions or comments. We will always address anything that you have, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you for listening, and have a beautiful day.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.